the ultimate advice and comparisons on the camcorders you may want. And Patrick shows you how to broadcast your very own radio station. Plus, get a preview of the brand new Battlefield Vietnam. Live from the Tech TV studios in San Francisco, it's the Screensavers.
I'm Patrick Norton.
And I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a show. It's just a jam-packed show of technology, our Manic Monday edition. Wish it were Sunday.
Over 7 cups of coffee have been consumed by each of our hosts. So tonight, we have an amazing show.
You know why I drank so much coffee? I don't know about you, but my daughter's 12th birthday today, and on Saturday night I had 12-year-old girls sleeping in the barn. 4 in the morning. Do you remember when you were 12, Sarah? 4 in the morning, I got up to go and say, sleep! Yeah, I think you are. You look like...
Was it the giggling?
Were you at the party?
You awake?
Huh? Giggling. Don't
you have like a $9,000 set of noise-canceling headphones?
Piercing giggling.
Those on?
Yeah, but the problem is when your wife goes, get up and get them out of sleep, the headphones don't do nothing.
Got it.
Yeah.
By the way,
what?
We're going to talk about, FM broadcasting, whether or not you can do a low-power transmitter. I'm going to be talking about that.
Radio-free paprika.
Paprika, I like that.
Yes.
We got Rob and Liz at CamcorderInfo.com. Going to talk about how they test cameras.
That's going to be fun.
And Dan, as a special bit of information.
What were you up to this weekend, sir?
Oh, sorry guys. I'm installing Linux right now, by the way.
Oh, is that what you did this weekend?
That's what I did for my weekend.
Installing
my
Linux
Saturday night,
opening.
yes. Oh, I just wanted to let you guys know that next week is Robo Week.
Yes.
Robo Week.
Robot Week.
All about robots. And I actually shot a couple packages last week for the Robo Olympics. So,
good.
Want you to come and check that out.
Yeah, I had
It'll
some friends
be
who went down.
crazy.
Was it fun? Was it really fun?
It was awesome.
First field packages. Oh my God. I'm so excited.
Our little boy is all geeked up.
But hey, we also want you to call us. Our phone number is 888-989-7879, and also to email us at thescreensavers@techtv.com.
Very nice. Thank you very much. Let's start with the tech news. It caught our eye today. Sarah Lane has the top story.
Yes, I do. There's a new bug to report, as if there wasn't one every Monday. The latest bug making its way across the internet is the witty worm.
Witty.
But it's really not very witty. It's just annoying. The worm attacks 2 ISS products, Black Ice Defender and Real Secure Firewall, spreading via a bug in both.
Isn't that wacky?
The graphics.
I love
awesome.
the witty worm. No, but seriously, folks, I want to tell you, the
At the Improv.
Look at that, the Improv.
Genius.
Yeah, seriously.
Who did that, Moynihan or Michelle?
How about those
Can we get an
Trojan horses?
applause for the graphics? Go Scott.
What's the deal with Trojan horses? So this is a weird one because you'll install Black Ice Defender or Real Secure, and you want to be. You think I'm making me safer?
We pointed out for a long time ago. There was definitely people were saying Black Ice Defender not such a good firewall.
Yeah, but nobody implied that it was opening a door onto your system.
Well, here's the thing. Any application, even one designed to protect your system, can be exploited if there's a hole in it.
Now, IIS, the company, released a patch last week. So the deal is, if you're using Black Ice Defender or Real Secure, update it, patch it, and you'll be fine. But meanwhile, I guess you should make sure you run an antivirus program from another company to see if you got the worm.
Oops.
The witty worm. Here's a dumb criminal. Let's hear that story. I like dumb crook stories.
This is fun. An enterprising programmer attempted to extort $100,000 from Google by blackmailing them. The coder had threatened to release software that takes advantage of Google's advertising system. Could have cost Google a lot of money, but the Fed set up a sting and apprehended the alleged bad guy.
This guy.
Why do people do things like this?
This is so stupid.
Why?
This guy wrote a bot, right, that clicks on the Google ad links, right, and click, 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 so that you make a lot of money from Google, even though nobody really bought any ads. Then he sets up a meeting with Google at their headquarters and says. And sits down with him at the conference table. Says, "Okay, how much are you going to give me now? Huh? I'm going to release this to the world."
$100,000.
And the Fed worked. It could have worked if the Feds hadn't taped the whole thing. Anyway, allegedly, he did that.
Maybe he didn't.
Maybe he didn't. It's only alleged. All right. I'll never be a good newsman. You see, I can't keep the straight face. The perpetrator allegedly wrote a program. Allegedly. We don't know for sure. He's innocent till proven guilty. But we got the tape! All right. Thank you, Sarah Lane, for those fascinating... Wait a minute, there was another worm, though, wasn't there? That wasn't the only worm.
Yeah, there was a semantic flaw.
We should say that it's not just IIS. Norton Internet Security had a problem as well that allowed an attacker to get into. So we don't want to sound like we're biased one way or the other, but there was also a problem with... We'll find that. Hold on. We want to get that straight. I don't want... Allegedly, there was a problem. Tyler on the line from Dallas, Texas, allegedly talking to us from Dallas, Texas. Hello, Tyler.
Hey.
Welcome to the show.
I had a question about my iMac. It recently lost all of its data.
Allegedly.
Yeah. I had to reinstall Jaguar all over again from the OS X boot disk.
Okay.
And I was talking to a guy through your forums and over the tech chat, and he recommended a program called Disk Warrior, and I was wondering if
from Alsoft.
What basically is a good program that I can use to not allow that to happen again?
Well, I mean, it's like a disk tool. It's a disk recovery tool. Yeah.
Do you ever hear us say back up your data, Tyler?
That would be the thing to do.
Yeah.
No. Everybody can laugh, right? Because it's not your 10 gigabytes of data that is lost to the universe. It's not you going, oh, well, my graduate degree can wait another 2 years while I, recompile all this or whatever it is, right?
That happened to my wife. Yeah. She lost her master's degree.
Nearly happened.
Her master's thesis. Yeah. Really?
Yes.
It's bad news.
Yes, bad news. Here's the thing, Tyler. The reason we say back up your stuff, get an external hard drive, burn it to CDR, burn it to DVD-R, do something, is because in a lot of cases, if things go horribly, desperately wrong, right, barring the invention of a time machine, you're never getting that data back. Okay? You can try to recover it. You can try to, if a disk crashes or stuff you can do before you reinstall Jaguar.
Jaguar.
Yeah, I upgraded to Panther recently, so.
But it's like,
We like Steve's pronunciation.
There's Jaguar.
It's pronounced Jaguar.
I mean, here's the thing, though, Tyler. Is what can you do? You run a good hard drive. You run disk tools.
Queer pronunciation for the geek guy. Never mind.
Let's go.
Sorry, I even brought it up.
Over a lot of
Jaguar. So. There is a review of disk tools. There's three big disk tools. There's the from the Tech Tool Pro guys, Micromat. They do Drive 10. There's Norton has a Norton System Works for Macintosh, and then there's the Alsoft programs. There is a recent review in Macworld of all three programs. I think they liked, as I remember, they liked the Norton best, but I'd have to check to see. They all do about the same thing. But it's not going to help you
even if you run those tools. All it takes is a 12-year-old brother pushing your iMac off of the table. Or the hard drive dying, or an electrical blast in the neighborhood. There's a lot of stuff that can kill your hard drive.
But I think the Disk Warrior is a good... And actually, they may have liked the Disk Warrior. I'll tell you what, I will look up and see which one that they reviewed and they liked the best.
We'll get back to you with that later.
I don't use any of them. I just back up. And I haven't had any trouble with my hard drives in a while, so... knock on whatever this is, rubber. Still ahead on the show, the deals and steals and the Sunday tech ads. And after the break, Robin Liss from CamcorderInfo.com. She's my personal camcorder guru. Will show us how they test and compare the camcorders for their reviews and what you should know about your next camcorder purchase. Stay right here. There's no doubt when you buy a digital video camera, there are many things to keep in mind. I often go to Camcorder Info to find out which ones are the best. Robin Liss is here. She's the founder and president of Camcorder Info. She's going to talk about how they test cameras and some new things about cameras. Welcome, Robin.
We're glad to be here.
Is it okay to say, how old were you when you started this website?
I was 12.
12?
Yeah. We try to be about that.
12?
Yeah.
How come? I mean, were you like into cameras?
Yeah, I enjoyed shooting video. I actually love doing claymation with my home video camera.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so I started writing about it on the web, and then it just grew and grew.
Now you have a staff now, yeah? You don't do it all yourself.
We do, yeah. We have two full-time staff members.
That's really
Tony
great.
and Nathaniel, they're great.
And we're going to see which one are we going to see in the...
Tony's in the video. He's our managing editor of Pro
That's
Video.
Great. So you do, how many camcorder reviews now do you do?
Well, we try to review every single camcorder that's on the market, so 40 to 50 every year.
And you test them all?
all?
We do. We do extensive testing so, the users can have guidance in making their purchases.
That's something I think is very important. You can have, especially with something like a camcorder, a subjective opinion and say, well, this looks good,
Right.
but it really is helpful to actually see some numbers. How do you make your subjective opinions more objective?
Well, as camcorderinfo.com, we believe that the most important thing about any camcorder is its video performance.
Yeah, of course.
How the picture looks.
Yeah.
All the other things are great, but if your video doesn't look good, it's going to be useless.
So how do you test it?
Well, we have a scientific process that we've developed that tries to minimize the human error so we can compare the video performance of the different camcorders.
We have video. This is what you took a tent? What did you do here?
Well, what we did is we took an army tent, actually,
Yeah.
and we bought special film fabric that's designed to absorb light, and it makes it pitch black in there.
So it's the kind of the video equipment of an anechoic chamber.
Right,
There's
it's
no-
very, very
nothing
dark.
going
It's
on.
about a 14 by 12 tent.
And then you're using this special chart?
Right, we have special lighting. One product is the Cameo Kino Flow. It's designed to do low light. And we also have some lights that make it very, very bright. Now, this chart here is the same chart that HBO, NBC, ABC, all the television networks use to calibrate their camcorders.
So here he's seeing if what the light level is. Now, why do you test it in different light levels?
Well, what we're trying to do is look at the camcorder under a variety of shooting conditions.
Okay.
We do one test that tries to mimic outdoor lighting, where the camcorders perform their best.
It's very bright.
But where the camcorders, where kind of the men are separated from the boys, if you will,
Right.
in camcorders, is when the lights are turned down. A lot of people don't really understand that the low light performance is what really counts in a camcorder.
Historically, digital camcorders have never done very well in low light.
Consumer camcorders in general don't do great.
Right.
Especially your camcorder is not going to see as well in darkness as your eye will.
What happens? It gets grainy?
It does. It gets grainy, and the image is just not able to produce like you can.
Right.
And the other thing is that most consumers don't really understand what low light is.
Well, let's show them. You have some images here, some test images. This is in bright light, right?
Right. Here is two camcorders, the Canon GL2, which has quarter-inch CCDs.
Okay, it's quarter inch. Is that big?
That's pretty big.
Okay.
And the VX2000, which is by Sony, now it's replaced by the 2100, that has third-inch CCDs.
That's even bigger.
Right. These
Okay.
are some of the top-of-the-line consumer camcorders
Now, they
that
look
go
pretty
for
much-
around $2,000.
They look pretty much the
$2,300.
same, though, right?
They do.
This is the bright light.
What you're seeing here is the great Canon optics at work, where the GL2 really has outstanding colors. Look at that green tile in the bottom left corner.
Okay, it is a little bit more vibrant, isn't it?
Right, and that's a Canon optics at work.
Hard to tell on TV, but you can see the
It is,
difference.
right.
Okay.
They're pretty equal.
Now, let's turn the lights down.
Right.
Now, low light doesn't necessarily mean like a dark room. A birthday party
No.
or even any time you're indoors.
Anytime you're indoors, we consider low light. Now, if you look here closely, I would recommend looking at, again, the green tile. Compare the green tile on the VX2000 to the green tile on the GL2, or that yellow tile. See how it's much brighter on the
It is.
VX2000?
Why is that?
It's because the VX2000 has a third-inch CCD, which is much larger than the quarter-inch CCD on the GL2.
Well, that makes sense. The CCD is the thing that's picking up the light,
It's the thing
right?
that converts the image coming in through the lens into an electronic
Okay.
signal.
So the bigger it is, the more light it would receive.
Right, more photons come into
Right.
each pixel, which means a brighter image and more information.
When
for
you're
the
looking at
camcorder.
consumer-level camcorders, the sub-1000, how big are those CCDs?
They vary. We sometimes have quarter-inch CCDs, but they're usually somewhere between quarter and a sixth-inch.
So the less expensive camcorders have worse low-light performance.
Well, what happened is that the camcorder manufacturers want to make camcorders smaller. So
Right.
to fit a smaller camcorder,
Right.
they have to shrink the CCDs, which, as a result, lowers the low-light performance.
So they think we want smaller cameras, but we still want good low-light
Right,
performance.
smaller camcorders means worse low-light performance. It's really too bad.
We have one more test picture. This is comparing, on the left, a 3 CCD camera.
Right.
Now, does 3 mean I get 3 times more brightness?
Well, what 3 actually means is that there's one CCD for red, one for green, one
I
for
see.
blue,
Okay.
which means you get better color definition, but it doesn't really help in low light.
But you see the better color here.
Right, the Panasonic, you can just tell the colors are more fair and even. Look at the teal tile, which is on the bottom center. Compare it on the
yeah, big
GS70
difference.
to the 39.
So the 39 is a single CCD.
It's a single CCD, but if we look at the dark, low light,
Turn down the lights now.
you can see
There's nothing.
You barely see anything. This is a consumer camera, and these aren't terrible conditions. It's pretty light. But if you look very closely, you'll see that the 39 is better because the 39 has a 4.7-inch CCD and the GS70 has a 1/6 inch.
Interesting. So even though it has 3 CCDs, they're smaller, so the low light is not as good.
Right.
Better in high and bright light, but not as good in low light.
So if low light is incredibly important to you, you might not want to look at the 3 CCD camcorders, the low-end 3 CCD camcorders, and go more for a large CCD camcorder.
This is the GS70 that you were talking about, the Panasonic. You do like it, though, right? I mean,
I love it. The GS70...
Actually, this is the 200, which
right.
is similar.
This is the GS200. It's not available yet. It's going to hit stores pretty soon. This is replacing that camcorder that we saw up there. There's a $300 less expensive version of this camcorder that you can buy. It will be available, called the GS120.
And that'll be about, what, 400, 500, 700?
That'll be $700. It's really revolutionary what Panasonic is doing. Right. You couldn't, before Panasonic introduced these camcorders, you couldn't find a 3 CCD camcorder for under $2,000.
So, but don't expect great low light performance.
No, definitely
Okay, good and bright light. Big announcement at CeBIT last week, which is the big trade show, the Consumer Electronics Show in Hanover, Germany. HD camcorder from Sony.
Yeah, huge news.
Now, this is not new. I mean, this is a JVC HD camcorder that came out last year, right? But look at, actually, we're showing it to the Sony right now.
Right. This is the Sony 3 CCD camcorder. They showed a prototype at CeBIT.
Okay.
They barely gave us any information.
So you haven't played with it yet?
No, haven't played with it. But
Price?
Our sources inside of Sony didn't say anything official,
right.
But our sources told us that it should be priced under $5,000.
That's pretty good. 3 CCD.
Very good.
I mean, HD. That's a 3 CCD. This is HD also, though, right?
But this is 1 CCD.
This is the one that was out first.
It was a revolutionary camcorder. It was a big deal. You know, JVC should definitely be applauded for, putting out the first HD consumer camcorder, but the low light performance is not great, and consumers were kind of apprehensive about buying it.
Is the camcorder world going to go to HD? Should I just wait and buy an HD camcorder?
You definitely shouldn't wait. That Sony that we saw, is going to be under $5,000. It probably won't be on the market for months and months and months, and you're not going to see sub $1,500, sub $1,000 HD camcorders for a while.
But that's a peek at the future.
A peek of the future, for sure.
Robin's going to come back tomorrow on Call for Help and show us how we can get some inexpensive sub-$500 camcorders that do give us low light performance. Right. That'll be on the Call for Help show tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern. And, of course, you can read all about it, as always, at camcorderinfo.com. She's got reviews of everything we talked about, plus hundreds of other camcorders. We link to it from the screensavers.com. Robin, Liz, it's been great to talk to you. Come back tomorrow. We'll talk some. You'll give us some buying advice, okay? All right. Still to come, Patrick shows you how to build your own FM radio station out of your garage or your kitchen. And coming up next, bargains or deception. We'll check out this week's Real Deals when the Screensavers continue. Welcome back to the Screensavers.
Yes.
Normally,
excited. Normally we actually do. We bring out the paper ads for the Real Deal.
The Real Deal. It's the Sunday ads.
Today, though, we're going to do something a little different, a little more personal, a field trip, as it were. I was helping a friend of mine shop for their first cell phone this weekend.
First cell phone.
Yes.
That's a special time.
It is. And you know what? It wasn't like I wasn't with them at the time. It was one of those like, I've been the ball and I hate everyone and I never wanted a cell phone anyway. You know what I mean? You ever getting that phone call?
Well, it is overwhelming. You cannot tell. The deals are all over the place. You can't match prices. You can't compare.
So I've basically come up with some of my top tips for not getting burned on buying a cell phone.
Buying a cell phone without getting burned.
1. Research online. Don't research in the store.
Yes, that's
right.
true.
There's basically, 4 major cell phone providers. We got Sprint, PCS, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile.
Yeah, actually, there's more than 4. There's Singular, Nextel. It goes on and on.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Now, in some cases, you'll walk in and let's say any 4 of those will be represented at any given superstore, right? Maybe 2 of them are available at Radio Shack, 4 are available at the mall. As many as 5 or all of them will be available in kiosks in the mall.
That's right.
All right. And if you're walking around, this is not the time to be going like, what's your basic charge for a national plan that has unlimited long-distance calling and no roaming? Because they're either going to know it or they're not. Right. And that brings us up to tip number 2. The salesperson word is not gospel.
Don't listen to them.
Yeah, because
Well, it changes all the time. They
changes
may
all the
not
time.
even know the answer.
And they may have known it this morning. It may have changed by this afternoon.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, you never know when they're being spiffed on a project, which is basically to being given an extra bonus, right? If
They might be
sell
pushing
it.
a particular product.
Exactly. You know, a lot of times if you ask them, why do you want me to buy this? You told me that it doesn't work very well in my area, right? But
I make $100 more.
exactly. Or maybe it's even $5 or $10.
Right.
Ask your friends, right? There's a horror story. We can go in this room right now and find a horror story for every wireless provider.
bet.
Actually, between you and Kevin, we can find a horror story
right,
for every
exactly.
wireless provider.
Yeah.
But ask people where they use their phone,
Right.
how old their phone is, because the older the phones are, the less well they tend to work, and what kind of customer service.
What should I be asking about? Coverage?
Coverage.
Okay. Customer service you mentioned.
Customer service.
Should I worry about price?
You know, yes and no. It really depends. You know where the price gets really interesting? You know, is when you actually look at when you're looking at high-end phones,
Yeah.
right, and where they're subsidizing a huge amount of it,
Right.
and when you're looking at a 1 year versus a 2 year commitment to that particular provider.
And then there's always minutes, which can make you
Yeah.
insane.
Especially since your minutes started. It's now like for Sprint, there's now a $5 difference between getting your free minutes, or your unlimited minutes
time
starting
they-
at 7
yeah.
versus starting at 9. Which brings us to let me go over a couple more. We got a whole bunch of stuff up on the website. We can talk about this. The Leo Factor, right, which is
What's
the
that?
latest and greatest cell phone that has the most features, is expensive.
Yeah.
The price will rapidly drop, and because it's so complicated, it may not work very well. You may be beta testing that phone.
That's my job, and I love it.
The Patrick Factor, hidden fees, activation costs, taxes costs, monthly charges, individual charges, state charges, federal charges, the portability charge. It says $40. I dare you to find a $40 a month cell phone that actually is
Costs $40. Well, that's the $20 plan.
Ask around.
Yeah.
Do your research at home. Call the 1-800 number. Call the individual salespeople.
The websites are great for this, though. You
Yes.
can at least go from website to website.
Paper brochures are nice, and I
that's
love
good.
it. Like, this is a great one. Please read carefully and file in a safe place. This is a return policy for Verizon's phones.
Well, that's the one I lost right away.
Do your research at home. Make your decision before you go to
And
buy it.
ask your friends is a very good advice. Yeah.
Go to thescreensavers.com, click on the show notes, get the tips, get more tips we didn't even talk about here about not getting burned on your cell phone.
Now, Dan has a helpful tip for us. Mr.
Yes,
Wu?
I'm here. Photoshop, without a doubt, is the king of image editors, but it's not cheap, of course. If you'd like to save your money, you're in luck because we have a list of free Photoshop alternatives. Go to the show notes at thescreensavers.com for details and links to download them all. But don't go anywhere. We're playing Battlefield Vietnam this Thursday. We're giving you a sneak peek today. But after the break, all you aspiring DJs out there, listen up, because DJ Pat's going to show you how to build and broadcast your own FM radio station. All that when the Screensavers comes back.
Welcome back to the Screensavers. I'm Leo Laporte.
And I'm Patrick Norton. I don't do that voice as well as you. Coming up in this half hour, learn some inside tricks on
this
this
is
week's
this.
LAN party game, Battlefield Vietnam.
Yes.
Help Mark. We're going to help Mark hook actually 2 computers to 1 computer and actually 1 monitor and 1 mouse
very
and 1
cool.
keyboard.
You know why I was doing this? Because we're going to show you how to make your own radio station.
We're actually going to talk about whether or not you can really broadcast your own FM
Is it
radio station,
legal?
right? I love it when you do it. You're like Walter Cronkite,
Is it legal, Patrick?
We've got Bob on the line from Korea. It's very faint. Actually, a lot of you must be interested in this because they just went to launch the Ramsey Electronics site, which is where this all came from, right?
And it's
Ramsey makes
down.
kits of all sorts. Well, apparently y'all jumped on Ramsey Electronics site simultaneously.
Because it's
down. So sorry about that, Ramsey. Here's the thing. We started looking around. We love kits. We love build-it-yourself kits. We found a couple of them. FM 100B, the Super Pro FM stereo radio station kit, which is this fabulous box right here, which sells for $260 in kit form.
That's not bad.
It's pretty nice, actually. Basically, it's got all the controls I don't know how to use. It's pretty basic, actually.
So it's a little transmitter.
It's a little transmitter.
Is it like legal power, or does it matter?
Well, that's where it starts to get in there. So we've got another one here, actually, the FM25B, professional synthesized FM stereo transmitter kit, actually. It's a
radio.
This is a radio.
Sorry.
Ignore this
That's
part.
how we
Sorry.
receive
But we wanted to show you one of the kits. Basically, in a matter of hours, right? If you can solder, in a matter of hours, you can put together one of these kits, or you can buy them pre-assembled. One of the nice things about Ramsey is if your kit doesn't work, they will actually...
They'll fix it?
For I guess it's about $36 an hour, they'll actually figure out what you didn't do right about it and put it together.
But this would be a fun project to do with a
Yeah, it looks a little scary, right, when you start to look at it, 'cause it's like, oh, it's the circuit board layout. They have nice instructions. It just takes a little bit of time and a little bit of soldering.
Hey, teach me about that in the Columbia School of Broadcasting, not affiliated with CBS.
The closed cover before striking school of heavy machinery and FM broadcast. But the thing is, right, yes, it works, just to answer your question.
Is this your radio station?
This is actually running off of this right now.
That sounds pretty good.
It does sound pretty good.
So are you feeding MP3s to it?
We're basically feeding MP3s off of this system right over here.
I love that.
It's just that simple, because you can basically run, your stereo lines into the back of the system.
Wow.
Now, where it starts to get interesting is basically whether or not it's actually legal to do this.
Well, aren't there rules about? And I noticed, by the way, when you turned it, it's low power enough.
Well, I don't have a proper antenna.
Oh, you don't have anything hooked up. Oh, okay.
Right, because with a proper antenna, it's interesting. Basically, yes, it's legal to run these, and I am not a lawyer, right? But it's legal to run these as long as you don't interfere with anyone's enjoyment of an existing licensed FM radio station.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, if you really want to play on 105.3 here in San Francisco, and your downstairs neighbor really likes listening to Howard Stern on 105.3, they can call up the FCC and have you shut down.
So if you're going to interfere with a crappy radio station, because then nobody will mind.
You radio guys are catty. Catty, I say.
So,
well, here's the thing. Basically, it's one of those things where, if a radio station broadcasts in the woods and nobody hears it, it's legal.
Oh, that's interesting.
If you're 50 miles, and I'd say that, loosely, right? If you don't have a license for your radio station, you have no rights over any licensed broadcast. So one of the things to do is you need to find if there's an FM station broadcasting locally and to make sure you don't interfere with it.
We have a little pirate station in my neck of the woods. It's great music.
Yeah.
And you can only hear it within about a few mile radius. Doesn't interfere with anybody, and it's fun. It's
exactly. But if it was interfering with somebody,
then he'd be in trouble.
And technically, the FCC may now start wandering around your particular neck of the woods, which I won't mention right now because we know the FCC watches.
Right.
So if that radio station gets shut down, everyone in your hometown will know.
I called the guy up because I could tell it was a pirate station, and I said, "Hey, this is really cool." We talked for a while. And he said, "You want to DJ for me?" And I said, "I don't think my buddy Michael Powell, chairman of the FCC, would really appreciate it if I went to work for you. But I like what you're doing."
Here's the thing. Low-power transmitters, there actually is low-power transmissions basically for community groups, like if you're a school that wants to broadcast over a few miles. And what's interesting is for outside of the U.S., they actually sell a 1-watt upgrade for this. And with the proper
so this isn't even a watt.
This isn't even a watt. But you know what? Okay. You can easily, with a decent antenna, you can cover a few hundred to 1,000, maybe 1,100 acres really easily. If you're on top of a hill with a decent antenna, you know what I mean? It's like you look at it and go, it's not even a watt. But you know what? There's ham people who covered thousands of miles with a good antenna on the right frequency.
This sounds like fun.
It is fun.
It's kind of the next step from having your Winamp playing on your home. You could even do it for just the house.
These are, and that's what actually Ramsey really sells, these like stereo FM transmitters. If you want to broadcast your music in your house, this is a great way to do it. FM 25B probably be the way to go. This is the kit. Like I said, a few hours to put it together. I didn't put it together because they need the parts back. And
I might do this. This looks like a lot of fun.
Cool stuff. We got basically links to the radio kits, my I am not a lawyer legal information thing. Basically, you know what? If you want to do it right, you get an engineer and you read Part 15 of the FCC rules. We're not going to talk about that too much on air.
Right.
It's good stuff.
The key is, though, in my opinion,
if you
cup your hand behind your ear, that's how you sound.
You have to make the pained face?
Yeah, you have to look like you're really working. Now, listen up. If you want to win some money, Sarah has the details.
You could be Tech TV's next winner of a $25,000 shopping spree or 500 daily cash prizes.
Hey, it works.
Yeah. Watch Tech TV every night from 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern Time. Look for the Tech TV Digital Digs Den sweepstakes commercials, which contain Tech TV secret codes. Each time you see a different clue, go to techtv.com/digitaldigs to enter. There are 4 new codes each night with 4 chances to enter each day, starting today through March 28th. Remember, this is the last week to enter, so be sure to watch and play everything. Now, stay where you are. We'll give you the lowdown on hooking up a monitor and mouse to 2 separate computers. Isn't that tomorrow? And after the break, take a look at our new LAN party game, Battlefield Vietnam. when the screensavers continue.
Let's check in with the fine folks over at Tech Live to see what's coming up tonight.
Patrick, let me tell you something. They're not made of flesh and blood, nor are they aiming for gold in Athens. But these bots are certainly battling to be the best.
Robo Olympics!
There it is. You like that?
I like that.
Yeah, tonight on Tech Live, we're actually going to take you to the Robo Olympics, as Patrick just said. Yeah, hundreds of robot enthusiasts gathered for a 2-day competition that featured robots that play soccer, even sumo wrestling. If you look really closely, you can see a robot wearing one of those sumo diapers.
Did you go?
No. Did you? You sounded like you were there.
I didn't go, but actually, Dan Huerdigs, we're going to do a big thing on this for Robot Week. It's going to be amazing.
No kidding.
Not as amazing as your package.
When's Robot Week?
Robot Week is actually next week after next on the screen.
So were you down there?
I wasn't there. Dan Heward was there. I was actually down at DARPA for the Grand Challenge.
So you guys are everywhere we want to be. Well, we'll give you a little taste of what Patrick's talking about and that Robo thing that he's going to be. This Robo Olympics, of course, is after the screensavers.
Chris, you rock, man.
Real guys made of flesh and blood. Not robots, the screensavers.
You're such an Olympian. That's what's coming up on Tech Live right after this show. Right now, though, it's time to toss it to Leo with a sneak peek of our latest LAN party game.
Ah, yes, our newest LAN party game was released, believe it or not, just 1 week ago today. It's the sequel to Battlefield 1942, which has been one of the most popular games we've played on the show. And now it's Battlefield Vietnam. Matt Kyle is here from X-Play to give us a little tour. We're going to be playing it this Thursday on our Screensavers LAN party. Matt, I don't know if your microphone's working. Let's see. Is it? Say hello.
Hello.
Is
Hello.
it working? Oh, good. I can hear you.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Now, so let's talk a little bit about Battlefield Vietnam. Is it basically this? They just put new weapons in, or is it a little bit different from Battlefield 1942?
It's a little bit different. It uses the same engine as Battlefield 1942, but they heavily modified it, and it's all new Vietnam-era weaponry and vehicles. And it's been modified so it can display much more detailed terrain.
Oh, interesting.
So it's because it's jungle warfare, so they need more trees and flowers and bushes and the rivers and the muddy rivers.
How about the gameplay? Has that changed?
The controls are the same, but you're going to have to play the game very differently.
Strategy's different.
Yes, very
How
much so. Well, essentially, because it's jungle warfare, they've kind of eliminated the ability to look and just kind of see the names of the players far off. So instead of just being able to scan the horizon and see people, they're going to be hiding in the bush. You're going to be sometimes running across guys who are hiding in the grass, and you don't see them until they're 10 feet away. It's a very different game in that you have to plan ahead, work together, and it's even more vital than it was in 1942.
Of course, the weapons you mentioned are different. You have Vietnam-era weapons. What is that? What kind of weapons is that?
Well, you've got M16s, M60, the big chain-loading machine guns like Rambo style, law rockets, shoulder-mounted RPGs.
Now, that's for the U.S. forces.
Mostly.
Yeah.
You've got some pretty heavy weaponry for the Viet Cong side, too, but the U.S. has the really powerful weaponry. In fact, some of it's a little overpowered in some ways. Does
that unbalance the game a little bit?
Slightly. I mean, the U.S. has the heavy firepower. The Vietnamese side has stealth and mobility and more of a hit-and-run guerrilla warfare tactic.
So if you're going to play the Viet Cong, you're going to have to play strategically a little bit different. You're going to sneak around and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's very different to play one side or the other.
Well, that might be interesting. That might add something to it. Can we get in one of the vehicles? I understand that when you get in a tank, for instance, you have music from 1960s.
Yeah. Yes. Any vehicle you can have your music going. You can start up.
Like what? Like the Stones' Satisfaction? Wait a minute, I hear it. Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and the really extra cool part is they set up the engine so that anyone who's playing, if you pass by them, they can hear your music blasting out of your vehicle.
This is straight out of Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, and you can. There is Ride of the Valkyries is in there, so the Apocalypse Now junkies can get their fix.
Wow.
And
is this a Huey? What are we flying here?
Yeah, this is a Huey gunship.
So they have Vietnam era vehicles as well.
Yeah, you got that. You got the jets. You've got F4s can call in napalm strikes. You have cargo copters that can
It must be
tanks.
very different, though, to fly these kind of vehicles than it is to fly the 1942 stuff.
It is. In fact, they've dumbed down or simplified the controls for the air vehicles a little bit because the planes in 1942 were tough. You had to be really skilled to fly those well. And they've kind of simplified it so anyone can kind of jump in a plane and fly it effectively. And some purists have a problem with that. Some people like that they can get into it faster and blow some stuff up from the air. But
now, for somebody like me who grew up in the Vietnam era, it's a little uncomfortable I have to say, to kind of see this, because it's a little kind of close to home in a way.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, you're playing 1942. War is war, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean, one war is, maybe not more objectionable than the other, you could say, but, it's a more recent thing, and, there's some politically charged content in here.
Is there napalm? Agent Orange?
There is napalm. There is napalm. There's no Agent Orange. Okay. There's always the expansion for that.
Something down the future, down the road. Overall, what do you think? A good game?
Good game. If you like 1942, it's a different thing, and you're probably going to enjoy it because it's the same idea.
Right, right.
And
but
far more powerful.
For the 60s. Wow, look at that. Very interesting. All new episode of X-Play tonight, by the way. It's the Ninja Show.
Yep.
So what does that mean? Are Adam and Morgan dressing up in black?
No, we actually have a ninja that visited the show.
An actual professional ninja?
Professional ninja. Real life
Not
ninja.
you?
No, it's not me.
Okay. Make sure you watch. That's 11 o'clock Eastern for, of course, X-Play tonight on Tech TV. And don't forget to register for our LAN party this week, powered by NVIDIA. We're going to be playing Battlefield Vietnam. Go to techtv.com/LAN party to register. And you do have to own Battlefield Vietnam to play. That means really it's going to be early adopters since it just came out. You'd have to be somebody who bought it right away. Look, it's a really interesting looking game. Very, very interesting. Coming up after the break, we're going to tell Mark how to get one mouse and one keyboard and one monitor to work with two computers. That's all coming up after these messages. Oh, you got to catch tomorrow's show. We've got a doozy coming up. We'll tell you what the best, least expensive 8X DVD burners are. Yeah, 8X is here, baby, and it's less than you might think. Let's find out what the advantages are of next-generation high-performance PCI Express. It's where the PC is headed. Forget PCI. Plus, Sarah shows you how to use the same mouse and keyboard with multiple operating systems. Some free software to make it easy. That's all coming up on tomorrow's thrilling, gripping edition of the Screensaver.
Now, remember Sarah's segment tomorrow.
Why?
Because Mark's going to ask us about a very similar subject.
Oh.
Where are you calling from, Mark?
Hello, Mark.
Hello. Oh, I'm sorry. Hi, Pat. Hi, Leo. How are you doing?
From
what?
I
admit I watch the show religiously, so... anyway, the question, yes.
Wait a minute. When you say you watch the show religiously, does it mean you're on your knees right now, or what? What is it? What exactly?
Not experience, not at all. No, I just watch, obviously, every day.
Every day. All right, we like that.
Cool.
On to the question.
How can we reward you for your...
Deep breaths, Mark.
I'm sorry, I've just never been on TV before.
So excited. Some days...
The question. So, I'm calling for a friend of mine, actually. He wants to connect two computers. They're really old. They actually precede the old Pentium 2. They're both running on 100 megahertz processors.
Oh, Pentiums.
And he wants to use both of the computers simultaneously, but with one keyboard, one mouse, and one monitor. But he doesn't necessarily want to, upgrade his computers because that'd be too expensive.
We can help him do that,
and
especially if they're PS2. Now, actually, it doesn't even matter. Even if you have a COM-port mouse, you could use a KVM, right?
For the most part, it depends on the KVM.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what a KVM switch is?
I've read about it in PC World, but never actually.
Keyboard, video, mouse. Actually, let's just turn the whole.
Can we get our? It's kind of messy back here. Somebody left some peeps back here. Look at this. This is a big old guy. You're not going to need anything like this. No. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different computers. But of course, we have a lot of computers underneath. So what we'll do is we'll switch. Now, if you look at the back, you can see how it's working. Turn some more. Each one of those switches has a corresponding keyboard and mouse connector, and video connector. Now, these are PS2 type. So if he has a really old PC, which sounds like he does, he might want to get ones that don't have PS2 connectors, but have COM-port connectors, if that's what he needs.
They're both PS2.
Oh, they're PS2? Well, then this is his snap. You just basically, you connect each computer up. You can get a 2-port one, obviously. Yes, you may spin the magic table.
Sorry.
Look at this. Holy cow.
Now, we should point out, Sarah, actually, in her download of the day tomorrow, is going to be talking about software that allows you to switch between...
Really? Like KVM?
Multiple systems, yeah.
You'd still need hardware, though.
Am I correct on the Synergy? No. Synergy is the software.
Mum's the word.
Do you want me to talk about it?
No, save it for tomorrow. I think you're going to have a hardware solution to do what he wants to do, because the only way you could connect both of those to a single monitor, and single mouse, and single keyboard.
I'm just going to do what Sarah did.
Mm-hmm. Now, wait a minute. Now I'm confused. So basically, this one keyboard and mouse
can connect to a bunch of different computers. No, we're not using it that way.
No.
We're using it the other way.
We're actually using it to switch. We've used it to switch between. You know what, Mark? You don't care anything about the way we use it because we use it
because it's
in a really weird way.
But the notion would be one monitor, one keyboard, one mouse, a bunch of computers under here. I press the button, and that's the mouse, that's the computer. And it's the same thing on Call for Help. One keyboard, one, and that's a KVM, keyboard,
one
video,
keyboard
monitor.
to rule them all in the workstation, find them. Right.
Yes.
So are there any manufacturers that you found that you might suggest that you've worked with?
Belkin's a classic.
Belkin, yeah. These are Belkins. IO Gear is another one that makes a lot of them.
It's one of those things where if you walk into the right computer store, they're going to have things from Bob's.
Yeah, a lot of
KVM switch.
It's a simple thing to make.
Yeah, it's not a real complicated.
I'd say go with Belkin.
Okay.
Go with Belkin.
Go with Belkin?
They're kind of the...
We have a nod from Fu on the Belkin?
They're kind of the king.
Yes.
Belkin. They're the king of the KVM.
And hopefully they still make PS2 KVM switches.
They're what? Oh, yeah, they do. And there is a website, I think kvmswitch.com, something like that has a whole bunch of them.
They have a really serious testing process.
This is about...
And by the way, watch Sarah's download of the day tomorrow before you buy the KVM Switch.
You can't do it in software.
Hey, you know what?
How could you do it in software?
Watch your segment.
You need
I don't want to get into it, but I do want to say it's
Thank you, Mark. You can get off your knees
question.
now.
Sarah?
Not only with software, but with multiple operating systems, like Windows and Linux.
Yeah, but you need something.
Didn't I say I was going to get into Linux?
All right.
All right. For now, if you're thinking about putting a PC in your home theater, good luck. No, I'm just kidding. Microsoft Windows XP Media Center Edition comes on special Windows Media PCs equipped with remote controls, built-in DVRs, DVD playback, and a lot more. For the details, we've got a great site for you. It's called greenbutton.com. They've got forums, you can read articles, even find exclusive downloads just for the Media Center Edition. Too cool, right? Now stay where you are. Next up, we'll check our inbox and see what's on your mind. We could read your email when the Screensavers continues.
Each year,
but was niet niet op.
What's he saying is the scariest day of the year
Los niet was niet op dit woord.
is the day the peeps appear.
Ik studeer met dat peeps verstond.
Basically, there's a long geek tradition of being afraid of peeps.
They show up.
Oops, sorry.
Ze zijn verloren de geek wisselkaart. Er biedt op als peeps.
They're not really food. They're not really candy.
They're not really food. They're not really candy.
But you wanted one all during the show.
I am so happy.
And if I ask nicely, I bet our web people will put up my favorite Peeps links, including the Peeps heat test, which is up on the home base monitor.
I think these have failed the Peeps heat test. Were you keeping them in your pocket?
No. No, then they'd be all soft and melty. Anyhow, we'll put some links in the show notes to horrible things you can do to Peeps, including microwaving, flame testing, and boiling.
This is the stupidest candy ever, because really all it is a machine that goes, and they said, oh, it kind of looks like a chick. We could coat it with yellow and sell them for Easter.
Well, they make them in pink and green and blue now. They're the most they scare me.
Look at that.
Sarah, are you afraid?
No, I want one.
Hey, I'm pretty good.
When Peeps attack on the next Screensavers.
I could have a career as a Peep pitcher.
Wow. That's weird.
Oh, that's
That
2
was
balls.
really gross.
3
Donate
balls.
to Peeps.
And Gary Bump. There he walks.
I walked her. Do you have any questions for us?
I do. Brian, real quick. Sorry. Are video processors a good solution for medium-grade plasma TVs to improve performance?
I'm sorry, we're out of time, but thanks for the question. No, I think so.
Well, it depends on whether or not it supports a native resolution of your plasma monitor. We got to go. We'll talk more about this later. I'm Patrick Gordon, Leo Laporte.
Thank you for joining us. Thanks to Robin, Liz, and Matt Kyle. Have a great evening. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.